Hey AfterBuzzers, thank you so much for joining us for another Shadowhunters after show here at AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we're going to be breaking down Season 2, Episode 10, the 2A finale titled By the Lights of Dawn, and we have special guest right here next to me, Joshua Butler, director of the episode, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everyone, thank you again for tuning in to another Shadowhunters after show here at AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. And as promised, I'm here with Joshua Butler, the director of 2A, an awesome director. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. That's very
We
sweet.
love having you, and you guys should
fun.
follow him on social media because he does a lot of really cool posts about the shows he works on. So where can they find you?
At the Joshua Butler.
Awesome. And I am joined by Dakota T Jones and Becca Brown.
What's up, guys? It's Dakota T Jones. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T Jones.
Hi, I'm Becca Brown. Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
And of course, don't forget to follow us at AfterBuzz, tweet us, comment, subscribe. We really love interacting with you. We got a bunch of your questions via Twitter, so thank you. And we are in the live chat as well, so just keep on chatting if you have any questions for Josh. It's really, really cool to have you here.
Yes.
It's so cool to be here.
Before we start recapping the episode, I just want to talk about you a little bit because I feel like when I met you a couple years ago when we were doing an episode of The Vampire Diaries that you
Yes.
directed.
Yes.
And I then discovered that, like, whoa, you have directed a lot of my favorite stuff. And
Yes.
it's really cool. And you don't, when you watch a TV show, it kind of sucks. The directors, it's like, well, unless they're, the person, the showrunner, kind of, it's
Right.
not a huge issue, but it is a huge deal because you're essentially creating these shows.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask, like, a little recap for everyone. What shows have you done? Or are you working on now?
Well, The Vampire Diaries, obviously I did 11 episodes of that show, which is wonderful.
That's
The best
huge.
episodes
Yeah.
he did. Ugh.
I did some episodes, very proud of the episodes I directed on that show, and did Pretty Little Liars, The Silence of the Lamb.
Yes.
And their spin-off, Ravenswood, some of the folks
Oh,
might have
okay.
seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I watched that. I loved Ravenswood.
Terrified
I
me.
did too. Yeah, it was great. I did an episode called Along Came a Spider. I got to direct live arachnids. It was fun.
Oh my gosh.
And it was filmed in New Orleans. Which
It
is-
did. That was
Wow.
fun. Yeah, it was
That's
fun
nice
working in
to-
New Orleans.
yeah.
Yes, and I'm currently also working on a show called The Magicians.
Yeah,
it's on
that's
Sci-Fi
cool.
Channel, which is a very cool show. And I did Limitless. I did Nikita, obviously, which is where I worked with Isaiah for the first time.
Oh, cool.
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was the guest star in my episode Sideswipe, and then we became friends, and it was so nice to reunite with him on this.
That's
one, so.
awesome. And then I guess there's this little show called Shadowhunters that you recently
Oh
had a
yes,
show on.
absolutely, yes. And actually, the other thing is the Matt Hastings, who's the executive producer of Shadowhunters this season. He and I worked together on the originals also.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
so,
Okay.
Small world.
Yeah, it's
Love
a
the originals,
very small
too.
industry and all good people.
It is.
So.
So
yeah.
are you going to be doing, do you know if you're going to be doing any for 2B? 2B or not 2B?
Well, they had actually booked all the directors for both 2A and 2B before when I got booked.
Oh, okay.
So,
Maybe 3A?
I would love to do it in 3A.
Yes.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
all the positive reactions that we've gotten from this 2A finale. I'm sure they would call you back for sure.
Well, yeah, they're very sweet people and great. I had a great time working on the show, and Matt's a good friend of mine, and
Oh,
Todd,
cool.
Todd and Darren, who are the showrunners, they wrote the script, and they're now friends. It's like
That's awesome.
it's a big happy family. So hopefully people watch it and it gets picked up. That's
Yes.
that's the goal.
Definitely.
So
we
hopefully-
love Matt so much. He's like one of the only ones we haven't gotten on the show, and we want him on here so bad.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
He's such a great actor.
yes, yes.
So you had a relationship kind of with some of the people before the show, and that's really cool. When you went, who did you meet that was new, that you really liked, or you thought whose work was really great, you kind of bonded with?
In terms of the
Like the cast, the
cast,
writers, the
I
crew,
actually
whatever.
I had to clarify, Matt Hastings.
Oh, okay,
the
I thought you
executive
said Matt
producer.
Daddario.
I
Okay.
enjoyed Matt Daddario
Yeah.
very much. He's a great guy, but I had met him for the first time. So Matt Hastings, the executive producer, and I were friends.
Awesome.
Matt and Kat and Alberto and Harry and Emerald, all of them. They're just such a very sweet group of people. I mean,
Yeah.
you've talked to a few of them, right?
Yeah, we've
Yes.
talked to a
Yes.
bunch of them.
Yeah, and they're
I
just
saw
they love the
season.
show. They love working on it. They're just it's a bundle of joy, the entire production. So it's like you walk into some productions and it's not so happy. It's like it's nice when a lot of really good people get together and the energy is good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and from what we see behind the scenes, like they just give off a good vibe.
Yeah, and they actually like to hang out with each other, which a lot of
Exactly.
casts, you know, when you finish your workday, they all like, okay, bye-bye, and then they all sort of leave.
They still hang out after work.
Yeah, exactly. These people genuinely enjoy hanging out with each other, which is great. Yeah.
That's how you know it's a good film.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
let's get into tonight's episode. So I'm going to kind of go the way the show went plot-wise, but I'm going to kind of group things together by character. So we're going to start with Alec and Aldertree with the institution invasion situation. It was super creepy. You know, Madsy, this cute little
adorable.
girl.
Oh my goodness.
Was she creepy or cute in real life?
She's really cute. Ariana Williams, I think her name is.
Yeah,
Ariana is very, very sweet. She's very quiet, you know, just like
That's what I was
Madsy.
gonna
Yes,
ask, yeah.
but as the most expressive face, and
Yeah.
but she is genuinely 4 years old. So
Wow.
She is a
Oh,
good
4
little
years old.
actress.
yeah, I know. She's
'Cause
got
I-
a bright future.
Yeah.
Starting young.
I was wondering how old she was. I'm like, this girl can she must be really disciplined.
She's just so poised, and her eyes just say it all.
Yeah,
Oh my
I mean
gosh.
that's the thing. She just is like could not be better cast for that role. So
Yeah.
but
I agree.
And so we see her essentially invade the Institute with Valentine, and then, you know, a bunch of people died right then and there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the...
So much
She
dying.
has gills, I guess, and when she breathes in, she like sucks all the oxygen out, or like
Yes.
pollutes the air.
Oh, that
Is that
makes
what's going on?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yes. Well, thank you for getting
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. We were we wanted to
Oh.
make sure that the gills were you know made some sense.
Yeah.
So and yes, she does have an effect on a room.
Yeah.
She sort of sucks all the air
She
out of
takes
it,
that little
quite
scarf
literally.
off and
yes.
boom.
Yeah, she's like...
Yeah.
Well, that's... I mean,
I didn't put that together.
I
Thank you.
remember that she had gills and all. Like now it's making a lot more sense to me. We get to see Alec and Aldertree kind of have to bond together, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Because first of all, Alec has just found out that Aldertree's the one that gave Izzy
Yin Finn.
Yin Fin. I love it when Dakota says Yin Fin. I just like...
Yin Finn.
Sam just pretends to forget what it's called so Dakota
Yeah.
can... Yeah.
I just like it, Yin Fin. It's such a
Yin
funny...
Finn. I know.
Yeah,
sound to
not to
me.
be confused with Sinn Féin, the Irish Revolutionary Army. But yes, that's what I always got confused.
Yeah,
I just,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yes.
I know all about
Yes.
that.
Yin
Me
Féin.
too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Same.
Sure.
Well, so, you know, they kind of save each other's lives on
Yeah.
and off throughout this episode, but Alec is still, you know, pissed at him.
Rightfully so.
And did you feel that Aldertree, because we've been like, this guy's bad news. He's working with Valentine.
Yeah.
But after this episode, I am a little bit confused what I feel about him.
I feel like we were
Older
supposed
trait.
Yeah.
to do that for this episode.
I've been confused since we met him,
Yeah.
to be honest, and it just gets... It's just the same every episode. I start off not liking him, and then I'm like, okay, well, maybe because he said this,
Yeah.
he's kind of on the good side, or he has
We're
good
total
intentions.
suckers, Becca. That's the problem. We're total suckers. We want to see the best in everybody.
Yeah.
I do want to see the best in everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, after hearing his story about how he had to kill his
Right, I was like
his
crying.
love
Werewolf
because
yeah.
you know she was a downworlder. Like after hearing that story and seeing why he wanted to kind of save the downworlders in a sense and protect them, it kind of made me like him a little bit more because I've always liked him. I thought he's a great villain type of character because
Yeah,
he's
Nick is
condescending.
great.
He's got a great look and a great accent,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just super like sly, and the way he says things and does things is very. I don't know. I just think he makes an amazing
Well-
villain type where you're like, do I like him? Do I not like him? Just makes me like him even
Well,
more.
and all villains have that backstory that makes you, like, kind of feel bad for them.
Well, someone just said this in the chat. Jovan Hawk Smith. Is Aldertree a full werewolf or just part? So I guess because he was bit, is that him?
Wait, is he a werewolf?
I didn't think that.
No, I didn't think
so
that either.
I don't think he's a
No,
werewolf.
he's not a
No.
werewolf.
Yeah.
Because if you get bitten by a werewolf, I forget what the process is in this show of turning, because he got bit, or maybe it was just like a scratch.
It was a scratch.
Interesting.
I don't know. That is
Yeah,
interesting.
it was the
Yeah.
claws.
It was
claw
just the
marks.
claws.
Yeah,
So it's I don't know. I don't think he is, but I could see him being, possibly a werewolf. Who knows?
Season-
But yeah,
Or 2B. or
season
3.
like
yeah, right.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think
Season
we're quite
4.
there yet, but maybe.
Yes,
yeah.
the secret downworlder
Yeah.
united party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about Izzy and Raphael for a little bit. Did you guys make a name for them?
I think it's like
Rizzy.
Rizzy
Rizzy?
or
That
Yeah, that would be
makes
the only one
sense.
that makes sense for me.
Yeah, Ithiel? No.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Riz is
Ithiel.
better. Yeah.
I have no complaints about what I'm about to say, but I felt like I was watching like Twilight or something during their scenes.
I
I'm
agree.
Like, this
But
is
in the best way
great.
possible. And
Yeah.
so like directing them in these scenes where it is very like bloodlust.
Literally.
Yeah. What did you use kind of to think about to inspire the way you wanted it to look? Because I really did like the way it looked. It looked really
Yeah,
sexy.
no, it's alright.
Well, the Hotel Dumont, the set was actually out on location, and it was a really beautiful set. Doug McCall, the production designer, did this amazing sort of job transforming this apartment into the what you saw last night. And but those scenes were really easy for me because David Castro and Emerald have this incredible like natural chemistry. They're just so good together that it's like it was sort of a piece of cake. You walk into a set that's beautifully designed and two actors that have great chemistry and a great script. Todd Slavkin and Darren Swimmer, the showrunners, wrote the script. So you kind of like, for me it was really about just trying to make it as pretty as possible. And, I wanted to make sure we shot foreground candles and we had the right, music, and we had the just giving it the right flavor in the scene, and then sort of that turn where he's hiding the cell phone and just it was a very natural process. It was a lot of fun and great people. So
And you mentioned the chemistry, and I think that's the reason right now that Izzy and Raphael are like my favorite.
Really?
As far as love.
I mean, I think they're
Influence in
totally
the
done
show.
now, though. I mean, considering everything that happened
Were
in this
my
episode.
favorites.
Yeah, you have to say were because. What do you think?
I think that Raphael is an extremely flawed character,
Me too.
but it almost humanizes him, and he's not as evil as he was when he was introduced to us, and we're supposed to start liking him, and so
yeah.
I think that he's gonna try to win her back and be like,
I hope.
oh, I'll
I
kiss
hope.
you. I mean, that was a little weird, right? The whole kissing, he doesn't do sex, like he's just
asexual.
yeah, just but his like pleasure is by sucking
Her
people's blood.
Yeah, especially because she's a shadow hunter, and it's like almost as addictive to him as Yin Fin, which is has vampire venom in it for her. So it's like they had this relationship where it was working out between them because they're like, oh, you've got what I want, and I've got what you want. Obviously, it's not a healthy relationship by any means, but I was telling him before the show started that a lot of people who read the books were very, very excited to see that Raphael was asexual, because in the books he is, and it's like a big deal, and everyone was upset saying, well, why are they together, because he's supposed to be asexual in the books, and it's like a big part of the books. And so a lot of fans were really pleased to see finally, okay, they're respecting that. And so I think they've respected it all along, they just haven't clarified it yet. So this was a moment where they clarified it, and everyone was like, oh, okay, so we got all worked up for nothing type of a thing.
Yeah, we have all caps comments about the asexual thing in the chat from Maffer and Anna.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to add that I think that it's annoying. I think
Which part?
the fact
I
that
want to see steamy scenes.
no, okay, he's asexual, but from what I know, and I'm sure fans will correct me if and when I'm wrong, that like an asexual, it seems like he is getting pleasure still from Izzy, just in a different form. They are being romantic. He says he does care about her, and it's a romantic connection. Just because he doesn't want to have sex doesn't, to me, make him asexual. It makes him just want to do other things that turn him on, I guess. I mean, honestly, and I get that they're trying to tie the book in, but I'm kind of just, pick a side.
Well, Celia in the chat says her blood is a drug.
Right.
So maybe instead of
And
it being a
actually,
sensual
Todd
thing-
and Darren consulted actually the
A vampire? They
asexual.
talked to
No,
him?
I mean there's the asexual community just to make sure that this was we
Accurate.
weren't stepping on anyone's toes or trying to misportray Raphael, because we wanted to make sure it was as accurate as possible. And I think a lot of asexual people get pleasure from non-sexual activities, so in a way it's a matter of just defining this sexuality that isn't really at all portrayed very much in mainstream cinema or television. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting ground that they're breaking.
Exactly. I think it was an interesting stance and like a good interesting way to go with it, just to give representation to everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
But I personally don't really know much about what it's like to be asexual. So I didn't know if it was like, okay, they're strictly like they don't like sex, but they might be in a relationship with someone, but they just have fun with each other's company. Like, is that like an asexual relationship, or do asexuals not usually in a relationship at all?
Well, I think there's many types of asexual. It's like it's just there's a lot of complexity to it,
Okay.
as in anything. And
Yeah.
Actually, and now with LGBT, Q, sometimes the next letter in that is A. It's part. They're considered part of the queer community. So
Okay.
it's very much again, a very complex group that would be, there would be a lot of different variations, I think, on asexuality. And instead of we're just thinking, oh, they just don't like sex, and that's not, so.
Well, learn something new every day.
There
I
you
do
go.
feel like
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it is interesting for those people that are watching, even if they read the books, if they're still kind of confused, like that was very helpful. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Because that even cleared things up for me, because I didn't know much about it. So I think it's a good way to educate everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about Freeform shows. That
They're
I feel like
free.
I'm getting an
Yeah.
well now especially I feel like I'm getting like an education on certain topics while watching the show.
Yeah, like things that maybe other networks are afraid to talk about, or just like don't really give the time to talk about.
No, they're
Yeah.
really an inclusive network, and,
Yeah.
and they're obviously part of their mission statement is to just represent as many groups of people and be as honest about the way people live as possible, and
Yeah.
I very much respect them. for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, let's next talk about kind of the big chunk of this episode, which was Clary trying to help Simon. And, Jace gets thrown in there. There's a bunch of Luke stuff, So we basically see Jace and Clary where we left them off last week. Simon had just been taken. And, Valentine calls her from Simon's phone, like FaceTimes her. And he's all tied up and threatening her that Clary come. What did you guys, first of all, is it fun doing stuff like that where you can see like a screen on a screen? Do you know what I mean? Like they're watching a FaceTime as we're watching them. I always love that kind of
I
stuff.
found the FaceTime thing funny.
Did they? I'm guessing that it
great.
was one of those things where they added what was on the screen later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we put a little I like a color on the screen when you shoot the and it's kind of silly on set because usually I have somebody reading off camera the dialogue and we shot the scene the very first scene that I shot was the scene where they get the call with Luke and Jace and Clary, but so we hadn't shot the scene yet, so we had to sort of talk it out, based on the script. But yeah, and then we composite the scene in later, so it's not as fun as it could be if we actually were doing it live.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's fun to watch.
more fun to be live, but yeah, it's nice when it comes together because it looks like we meant it. So.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, a Shadowhunter FaceTime.
I know.
Yeah,
Down
I
roller and
was
Valentine.
like, wait, they have that?
Yeah.
Great.
I know, actually, Dakota was gone the week that we interviewed Emerald last year, and he was like, please just FaceTime me. And Emerald FaceTimed him, and he was just like
My life
so
was made.
happy.
Oh, that's good. That's
FaceTime is a
good.
wonderful
And then
thing.
there's photos of the FaceTime.
Yeah, I was like, can we take a screenshot selfie? So we like. Did
She was so
Oh,
nice
that's awesome.
about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's great.
I was
Yeah,
like, you're
she's
crazy.
very
Same. Well, so we basically, I love it when we see the, what do we call it? I mean, I always call it the Scooby Clan, the Scooby
Oh,
group,
yeah.
but
The
we call it
Scooby
our
Clan.
Shadow Squad.
Yeah.
So we have
Shadow
Magnus with
Yes.
Clary.
Hashtag Shadow Squad.
Yes, Jace. Simon has been taken, so he is missing, but, and then there's Luke. So they're all trying to figure out how to get Simon back in the most diplomatic way possible because Clary's emotions are haywire because this guy who she does love Simon regardless of what happens. Like, she loves him very much. And I will just say, I wasn't here last week, I'm really liking the Simon and Izzy stuff. It is giving me the feels way more than I thought it would. I thought it would be totally weird, but I really like it, and I don't want it to be messed up.
Are you talking about Simon and Izzy or Simon and Clary?
No, Simon and Clary.
Okay.
Sorry,
I
Simon
was
and
like,
Clary.
yes.
No,
I was like, did I
Simon,
miss the scene?
yeah, no, Simon and Izzy hasn't happened yet. I'm talking about Simon and Clary.
Yeah.
Way more than I thought I
love
would.
Simon and Clary too.
I love-
especially won't get into the scene I love.
Yes, definitely. But Clary just needs to get him, and then we see Dot again.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, I
Vanessa,
feel like
yeah.
that was must have been fun to direct because she kind of just she's like, "Hello, I can help you."
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
Creepy face that's like coming off.
Yeah, you know, which came out of the last episode. Yeah, when Valentine was having his way with her. But Vanessa Matsui plays Dot. Again, terrific actress. Very much easy to work with her. And yeah, she you know, it's like these makeup jobs. They take a long time. So you have to respect actors who have the patience to sit in the makeup chair for hours to
Right.
you
Oh
know,
my
to
goodness,
get there.
yeah.
Especially like Alberto, he tweeted or Instagrammed a video of how it was like trying to take off all the stuff
The
that he
blood.
had from the blood and like the things that were wrapped around his neck and the cut.
Yeah, and by the way, the art department, it took them 3 days,
Oh,
to
my
clean the
gosh.
couch out.
Oh my god.
I just saw a picture, and I'm not good with like blood by any means. So yeah, I was
It
like,
was
ugh.
crazy. I love the way that you guys did that and the way that you portrayed that on screen. I think it was so great and so realistic because a lot of times in shows you can kind of be like, oh, okay, well that's not real. Whenever Valentine took the knife and like kind of cut him and then he was just sitting there, I was like, this is too realistic. Like I have to turn my head. It was
Yeah, well,
so
that's
good.
my
Yeah.
that's my pet peeve. You know,
Yeah,
throughout
yeah.
all the, and I've done a lot of blood in
Yeah.
there's a lot of blood in the episodes of television that I've directed. So
Yeah.
I just kind of I really have that I get upset when it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
You know, so
Maybe whenever they have like some bloody episodes, they're just like, all right, we know who to call. Joshua,
Exactly.
can you come direct this episode, please?
bloody or epic kisses. Those are the two things
Yeah.
I get a lot of, which is great. I like blood and kisses. Those
Yeah.
are good.
Me too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It makes for a good TV
What else?
show.
Yeah. What else do you need in your television
Exactly.
entertainment? Really, right?
I like kisses a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so after that, let's see. Well, do we have any calls? If there's any callers that want to call in, I saw that maybe we had one. I mean, you can open up the lines if you would like. If there is a call, just give us a heads up, and we'll do a quick little question.
Okay, cool.
Conversation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we are on our way to find Simon, and then Simon and Valentine have this kind of cool conversation. Simon's so brave.
Poor Simon. He's just like, I feel like Simon, I relate a lot to Simon at this time because I'd be like, come on, don't you just like want to change for your daughter? Like, just make her happy. She wants to connect with you.
But then
No.
he's like, she hates your guts, so
And
leave
then
her
that
alone.
was like, ooh. Like, yeah, I think it was one of those things where we thought maybe Valentine's listening to what he has to say, but of course not. Like,
No, I was like, he's not
Valentine's
listening.
just going to use it against her as always. But I thought
Right.
that part was very interesting because I was like, wow, go Simon. Like, standing up for Clary, being able to discuss it and being like, hey, this is crazy what you're doing. And kind of getting, you can see it got in Valentine's head a little bit.
It did a little bit.
And then he was just like, you know what? He got angry and then it was all over.
I think it made him what's the word I'm searching for? Like
I thought
easy to go after near the end.
Valentine?
Valentine, like the talk that Simon had.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought for a second, again, because I can be so naive, but Valentine has fooled me too many times, and I am not to trust him. Because I'm always just like, he wants to get to know his daughter. Like, it's deep down, he's like just a love guy. Like, he just wants to love and have his family. I mean, but that's BS because he killed the love of his life. So I'm still not over that. So I didn't fall for it this time, Valentine.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to say that. But I really liked how everyone kind of banded together to get Simon, including Jace and Luke.
Yes.
And then they hit Maya with their car. Or she jumps in front of it, essentially.
Yeah,
She
right.
just
She
jumps. She
jumped.
jumped.
Yeah.
Oh, Maya.
I just love how Luke handled the situation. Was like, tase. Like, it's over. She was getting ready to transform.
Looks like no more.
He's like,
We got other
no.
stuff to deal with right now.
Yeah.
Don't waste our time.
I mean, Alicia's a fantastic actress. We had
She
her
is great,
on the
yeah.
show,
Alicia
and
Wainwright,
they've showed these. We know she's a big part of the series and the books, and that
Yeah.
in 2B, she is going to have a much bigger role. And the moments that she had in the past couple weeks, it's like, yeah, she's not doing the right thing, but you still feel bad for her, which I think
she's
everyone does a great job.
misunderstood, like a lot of characters are in this show.
And she doesn't have like
Misunderstood.
strong role models, and the one strong role model that she has is Luke,
Luke.
and she feels like he may be picking Clary over her, so she's acting out in a sense, and she's kind of a lone wolf, no pun intended. I mean, pun intended, but I mean, she's this lone wolf
She's
who's just
jealous.
doing what she wants to do because she's like, you know what, I'm so done with everyone being for Clary. Like, I want someone to believe in me, and trust
Right.
my instincts,
Yeah, she's Just feeling the jealousy.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a certain way when you have characters like that, like, are you told, by the writers, producers, or actors that, hey, I'm the bad guy in this episode, I do some bad stuff, but we need some hints of humanity there, or is that just kind of taken care of in the writing itself?
Well, I mean, it's my job not to screw it up. I mean, usually the writing. And I think you've pointed it out, like with Alder Tree, and with the misdirect with Valentine, and with Maya, and the goal in this episode, I think, was to really sort of, and Raphael as well, and to sort of humanize and keep grounded and keep complicated all these characters, and not make them one thing or the other. And I think in general it's a good rule for directing, just to make sure that everything it feels like somebody's not too much of a caricature, and keep even the villains have to have humanity, and you have to at least buy into them as human beings, as flawed as they are. So
yeah,
that's a rule. I think it's a good rule for any show, really.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we have this whole Simon thing when he's there, but there's the Maya and Luke situation. He takes her away, and Jace essentially decides that he's going to be the one to step in,
right,
and be Clary, which he kind of is doing all this stuff this episode that he's not really telling people. And, some of it he's telling people, but some of the other stuff he's like, let's just see what happens. It's like a little kid touching a stove. Let's see if it's hot. I mean...
yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're just, you're dancing a very fine line there. But so he does this whole switch with Clary, which, correct me if I'm wrong, she did not know about, did she? She might have known, and they just didn't show it.
I think the idea was that he had sort of told her, don't worry about it, and then just did it himself. I mean, the idea is that he's trying to be this rogue martyr hero guy, so my feeling is that she didn't know, but...
Yeah.
And I just love that moment whenever Jace, it's no secret, he doesn't necessarily agree with or like Simon all that much. Like, he tolerates him and he kind of jokes around with him here and there, but he's definitely jealous right now with everything that's going on with Kleiman. So for him to offer his own wrist and be like, all right, fine, like, I'm doing this for Clary type of a thing. I know she loves you, just like, feed off of me, and knowing that this may end my life because he may get carried away with it. And if it weren't for Valentine and his men stepping in to rip them apart, he might have not been there anymore.
Right, in that line where he says that, he might have let Simon drink all his blood.
Why did he say that,
because
though?
It feels really good.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have control.
It's like that's that motif of the tear, and the idea that it's just ecstasy.
Yeah. Well, that scene was so cool, and I know people in the chat are just kind of like going crazy about him, Simon drinking blood from quote unquote Clary, and then he turns into Jace. How was that shot? I'm sure you did the Clary scene, and then it was Jace. Was it weird? Were the guys weirded out, kind of like that he's sucking his blood? And I mean, it's just kind of something we haven't seen before because they don't like each other.
Well, it's. Kat was on set, so when Dom and Alberto were sort of at the end of the scene, we sort of went backwards. We basically had Dom do the scene, and Dom and Alberto could not be more cool with that. I mean, everybody's so cool with everything, So
yeah,
they were very cool. But then it was just a matter of making sure that we got from the de-glamour moment, just to make sure that they were in the right position, and that sort of you made, obviously Dom is much taller than Kat, so the idea is to try to figure out how we could at least match the body language.
Yeah. And I mean, is it one of those things where you don't really use, I mean, there's special effects obviously with the noises and the crunching of the bone and the vein. But is he literally like biting their wrists in a sense? Like,
in the safe actor way, the same way that people, fight, punch each other in swords and everything. It's all very safe, but yeah, I mean, there was actual touching of lips too. But the nice thing is that if you do, then you could put any sound you want in. It's we have lovely
love that
sound. Crunching bones.
I know. I'm like,
I know. Which is we did a lot in the Vampire Diaries too. It's like it's very good. It's very classic sound.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to I think the second season of the show compared to the first season, the special effects they put
Yeah.
enough money in it to make it okay, but they didn't know it was gonna, be this huge thing. It was a test. And this season,
Yeah.
the special
They've
effects
escalated.
They're awesome.
have
yeah.
been, they're great. I think they're some of the best on TV, and no one really talks
I
about it,
agree.
but they're really cool.
Yeah, Philippe,
Underrated.
the visual effects on-set supervisor, it's just like he came on this season, and again, Matt Hastings, who was the executive producer and director, they really wanted to up the visual effects game, and I think you're right. I think it's
They-
underappreciated.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
great
Appreciate
visual
it.
effects
Let's
in the
talk
show.
about it more.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
It's
First
good
season, it
stuff.
was a lot of like purple, sparkly kind of like
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
and it was like okay, I get what they're trying to do, but then this season they've totally upped it, and like the whole thing with like Madsy, I think it was either this episode or the last episode when she opens the portal and then just like kind of like with her hand waves it and the portal like takes
Yeah.
them away.
Espe-
That was amazing special effects.
Especially if you go back and watch the first episode, because I remember watching the first episode, we're like, questionable special effects at this point.
But they've just gotten
But they've
so
gotten
good.
so good.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, you can thank Matt Hastings for
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Matt
Yes,
Hastings.
thank you, Matt
yeah.
Hastings.
Great job, because
Yes.
they're awesome.
Bravo.
Keep it up.
Yes.
Indeed.
So Valentine finally, though, gets a hold of Clary, and he's dragging her to the sword, and he's saying all this stuff, that he really cares about her, and that he's doing this for his children, so there aren't, downworlders in the world.
And you could tell he was serious. He wasn't just saying that. Like he literally
He believes it.
is so demented that he thinks that he's doing this for the right reasons.
And that makes me hate him even more.
He thinks he's a hero, pretty much.
Yeah, and Alan Van Sprang, who's
No.
a fantastic actor. I
Yeah.
mean, he has to believe it when he's acting it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. When you play a villain, you have to believe. You put yourself fully in the mind of that villain. So I think he really sold it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Simon comes out, and him and Jace are doing this, rogue thing together.
Yep.
And that's a lot of fun to see. He tackles Valentine, and there's a whole struggle. And, Clary... Okay, so it was complicated what happened, I'm sure you didn't just do... That probably took an entire day to do that scene.
We actually shot all that on a Sunday, actually. Yes, because they were sending. I think it was around New York Comic Con time. So
Oh, okay.
They shifted the schedule of the week. So yes, we did that on a Sunday. Wow.
Yeah, so that scene was really crazy, because one person's here, where's the sword, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost track during that scene. I was like, whoa, there's a ton going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on. Yeah.
Like,
I
no
liked
wonder.
it, though.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
It's like, it makes sense that the outcome from all that was happening, the outcome of the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have to choreograph that very, very carefully. And Darren McGuire, the stunt coordinator, is amazing. We basically rehearsed that, with all stunt doubles, and then most of the actors did all their own stunts. But we
cool.
for the off-camera stuff. Off camera, as in like you're not seeing their face. Sometimes we would use the stunt folks, but they're also game. And Dom Sherwood especially, he loves to do the stunts.
Oh, yeah.
he loves them.
He was telling us that when he came in
Did
last
he?
season.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I love doing my own stunts.
Yeah,
you know?
he's really going home
See,
about it. Yeah.
I forget that, that much work goes into those scenes,
Oh, yeah.
the stunt scenes, and you have to, choreograph them and stuff like that. So that's...
Yeah, because the problem is they take so much time and then they go by so fast. You
Yeah.
know, but it's like you got to really on a TV schedule, since everything is going so fast and you're shooting so
Yeah.
quickly. You really have to make sure that you have your A game, and when you go
That
in
everyone
and,
has it
and then
rehearsed.
you're on the clock, that it's so rehearsed.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Well, essentially what we learn in this scene, and I'm very much questioning what Jace was exactly thinking he was going to do here. Jace takes the
He's
sword.
gonna, risk
He
his
thinks
life.
that he's the guy from the vision.
He was going to
because-
sacrifice himself?
Yeah.
Exactly. He thought that he was because Valentine essentially said that he was injected with demon blood. So he feels like if he touches the sword,
Then
it
it'll
will
be,
destroy the
destroyed.
sword and himself, and he'll be the martyr.
The martyr, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody will be fine. The sword will disappear, and they won't have this problem anymore. That's what he thought, but it was just Valentine's plan, getting him to think that, so then that way he sacrifices himself, and essentially he's got angel blood as well, and he kind of, in a sense, activated the sword.
Gotta give it to Valentine. He's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty devious. Yeah.
It was very devious, and it was sad. It was sad to me that Jace felt like his life was ready to be over.
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, you can't, risk your life You know?
But I'm also like, why didn't anybody put this together also? You know, that maybe like, is he the only one maybe that truly thought maybe... I mean, no, they all thought he had demon blood in him. So why didn't everyone else say, don't you dare, Jace? I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he's trying to. I think for what we're trying for is the idea that he was
be a hero.
to be a hero. You know, to really just do it and not worry everybody unnecessarily.
Yeah.
You know, the people he cares about.
And the conversation he had with Valentine, you know, he said, first of all, he's not his son. He's not Jocelyn's son. He's not Clary's brother. And that he is his favorite. He still loves him, though, he said.
Yeah, that was
like,
so weird.
His favorite project kind of thing, because he did inject him with angel blood, right? Is that why he loves him?
I think so. Honestly, I'm not too sure about that part, because basically everything that he had previously said about him being his father was a lie.
Well,
So I don't really know exactly. I don't know if he was injected with angel blood as a child or if he just had angel blood.
at this point, I'm like, well, you only love him because your plan worked out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
What I
Yeah,
wanted to
that's-
ask you actually was,
Yes.
whenever he touches the sword, that's supposed to activate it and kill the Downworlders. We see that in the Institute, like all the Downworlders there, pretty much besides Simon, which was interesting, died.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't it go outside of those four walls and into the rest of the world to kill the rest
Because
of the Downworlders?
I always get this word wrong. Adamus.
The shields that were
Yeah,
up around
yeah.
the Institute. Okay.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
in the walls.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Well, and you know, it's interesting. We see Meliorn, who we hadn't seen most of the season. He's back, and he's, you know, we grew to like him a little bit, and then he went away last season, and now we're like, oh, that guy.
Which he didn't die, right? He was
No,
outside.
he was.
think?
I had
He was
rewind
outside.
it,
Yeah, because that was the why
Someone
we.
in the chat was asking earlier.
I'm glad that he's
Yeah,
not dead.
he was out there with Luke and,
And
Maya,
Maya, yeah.
and then I guess Raphael sped out, he said.
He did. Yes.
And so he made it. But yeah, I mean, Alaric is dead.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that was really sad.
Yeah.
Because he's
I
been
mean-
there since, last season. I mean, season 1.
Yeah.
None of like my favorites.
He's got
Died,
worse.
so
I
it's
liked
fine.
him at the beginning. Not him as an actor, we love him, but his
Joel,
character,
that's right,
yeah. His character just continued to be like, we don't like you
Sim's
so
like,
much.
no.
Yeah.
Bye.
But it was sad, and it was sad to see Simon. You know, they all felt responsible in some way, shape, or form for this huge massacre, which I think was greatly portrayed because
Thank
they really, it was sad because it was kind of their fault.
I mean, yeah, and also it was very much, Jace's fault in a sense. He didn't know it. I mean, he's the one who activated the sword and killed all those people in the room. I can only imagine living with the guilt of not killing one person, but like killing a lot of people who were
Yeah.
on his side.
Yeah, and that just makes
And then being blamed.
Valentine even more evil. That
I
that he
know.
would put that on Jace's
Yeah,
conscience.
because it
I
is
think.
really,
So-
it's Valentine's fault at the end of the day.
It's Valentine's fault.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
any of their fault.
Jace was an unwitting,
But-
hand
Accessory
Yeah.
to murder.
accessory. Yeah, to a lot of murders actually. Yeah.
But Jace is still gonna believe that it's all his fault.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh sure. Yeah.
I think though Jace has some light here because he's like, oh crap, I'm not related to Clary. I just want
That's
to like tell her and kiss her. First of all, if it went that way, if I was her, I'd be like, I want a paternity test just before we do this again.
Yeah.
Like,
Before we go any further.
Yeah, it's a smart thing.
gotta check one more time because that was weird. You know, and he gets really excited, and we see that Simon has found out he can now
He's
be
a
in
daylighter.
the daylight.
Which is awesome.
So cool. He doesn't
And-
have to wear a ring or anything like the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I know. I actually asked that question when I read the script. I was like, it's no, okay. Yeah.
No ring?
No ring.
Daylighters. That's what you want to be if you're a vampire. You just
And at this point, do we not know why he's able to do that now? Because we just saw in the last episode where he had to reach his hand outside and it burned his hand very bad. So this is very new, obviously. We don't know at this point why, right?
You didn't
the
No.
common,
know.
the common viewer.
Well,
He was
no,
just like,
but
eh.
I think in the books, I think you would probably find the answer to that question.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of the show, yeah, I mean, the idea I think is that what happened in this episode may have contributed to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he didn't. All the other Downworlders in the room died except for him. and then now he's able to be in the daylight. So something went on
Dun,
there.
dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something definitely went on there. And just to wrap up kind of Valentine also, he's now taken by the Clave, and missing a big part of this, the Parabatai fight. I have it in bold in caps. The Parabatai fight with Luke and Valentine. That was, that's kind of just like old friends, old problems, just resurfacing, and they are in it to kill each other.
Yes.
Actually murder each other. Neither are successful, but I will. What was it like? Directing the scene with Isaiah with naked.
Oh yeah.
We really have to
With Isaiah
give
with
props to Isaiah Mustafa for being the trooper of the year, because we put heating kind of apparatus beneath the grass so that he wasn't lying on
Like cold ground.
But it was so freezing the night we shot that. So, I mean, man,
Did he have any kind of coverage? I'm sure, right? No.
Well, yeah. I mean, we did. Well, yeah. He covered up his, the
Okay.
parts you can't see on television.
Yeah.
But
the full backside would have had to have just been kind of out there, right?
yeah, and I mean, he's again trooper.
What a trooper.
I mean, really.
As an actor, that's something that I've always wondered, can I do that? And I haven't done that yet.
And
but
you
I
know,
don't know if I
Dakota,
can.
how long those scenes take to shoot too.
Yes,
So he was
exactly.
this was hours of being
He's just
naked
like,
in the
"This is
freezing
me."
Toronto.
Exactly.
I know, but
And
no,
he
absolutely.
says he's a king.
I'm sure after that he was just like, you know what? I've done it all. I'm cool to be naked again on screen if I have to.
Yeah.
Isaiah's pretty much cool for anything.
Yeah.
He's just the coolest.
He's on a
coolest
horse.
guy
He's
ever.
naked.
Yeah.
Now we-
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of people in the chat talking about how he
How
Him.
how
His
he's
body.
amazing. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He-
Positive. Save us, I
Yeah.
hope.
very positive.
Okay, good.
It's
Positive
positive.
feedback
Yeah.
for Isaiah on that
Yeah.
one.
Excellent. Oh, good.
Yes.
Yes, as he well deserved.
Shocking, I know. So yeah, Valentine's now being taken by the Clave, but when all this stuff was going on, the Soul Sword was taken. And
Disappeared or something.
someone took it, and don't worry, I'm still gonna get to Malec because I just want to do a little bit about that.
Oh
But
my god, I cried.
I want to finish though with the sword thing, and the last moment in the episode we see is somebody walking away with it. Pretty sure I know who it is, just from like spoilers.
now I
I'm
wanna
pretty sure,
go to
like,
predictions.
Sebastian, right? That's who we
Yeah.
think it is?
Yes,
Exactly.
Sebastian.
Okay, great.
So
That's
that
who I
was
think
really
it
cool.
is.
But of course, you guys, I want to touch on Malec this episode. It was
So cute.
it was awesome.
It was love.
And I felt like all the angsty kind of like, will they, won't they? Oh, they're just going to do this. They're just going to do that. Now they're fighting. Like, this was so real for me because you could tell they were both so scared about losing each other. And that, I think, is essentially is what's going to make them like a grounded, actual relationship.
Because the last we saw, Magnus was in the Institute trying to take Madsy away. So we thought, oh my gosh, what if he's in the Institute? We knew they wouldn't kill him off this early, obviously. He's a big part of the show. But obviously, Alec didn't know that, so he was freaking out. So seeing that moment whenever he kind of taps him on the back, and Alec's like, oh my gosh, you could see
The
all
excitement.
the emotions. And Alec is very stoic. He kind of tries to keep his emotions to himself. In that moment, the wall was
Hashtag
down.
all the feels.
Yeah. And how good is Matt Daddario in that
Exactly.
scene? I'm so impressed.
Both
And,
of them.
I mean, Harry is amazing all the time, but is very much more of an emotional character, as you pointed out. So
Yeah.
to see Alec, get emotional, I think it was great that
Yeah.
Matt
Yeah.
just had the ability to go there.
I felt like, okay, is he gonna say I love you? And then when he did, I was like, oh my gosh, he said that, because that's not something he would
And then
say.
the I love you
Right.
too. No, the I love you too, and the I love you just got me.
Yeah, they both said it. They both meant it. Now I'm just like, to me, I'm thinking they're a force to be reckoned with now.
Exactly.
Nobody, like, they're
Nobody's gonna come between them.
I hope
They
not.
earned that
come
love,
between them.
definitely.
Yeah,
they
that's
did.
like
They've been through a ton.
That's
Yeah.
like a big deal for the series in general, that moment. And like, what was it like being the director who directed that moment? That's like a big deal for you.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so lucky to get that moment, and and I've done a lot of those types of epic kisses in shows, and it's one of my favorite
Yeah,
things
you're
to
like
do.
that
I saw
epic
your
kiss.
tweet.
Yeah, I've done a
I
lot.
know, you have just like a collection like in your closet, like, I did this
Yes, I
kiss.
know.
I-
Delana, Caroline, Hela.
I was
it's
just
like,
over here looking up that Halo
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
I was like, wait, I gotta remember that. Oh, that one.
That one, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
No, they're great. I love to direct the kisses and the scene. The thing we had to worry about, actually, we're shooting outside on a Toronto street, and the what we call the looky-loos.
Oh.
So we really had to do a lot of like send all the production assistants out to kind of keep people away, and so the
they
thing we were
didn't,
most
like,
worried about was like somebody actually like taking a photo and that getting
audio.
spoiled on the internet. So we
Wow.
I think someone actually did unfortunately take a shot of Alberto in the daylight, sort of from across the street, but which sucked. But
Oh,
yeah,
that does. But, I mean, technically, they could probably be like, oh, they're probably just walking out to go to lunch or something.
Yeah,
like maybe not. A
Yeah,
part
exactly.
Of the actual show.
You but it's just security's tight on those
Yeah.
scenes, and the scenes if you're doing them in a soundstage, then you don't have to worry about all that. But
The
Right.
looky-loos. I
the
love that.
looky-loos, yeah.
Wait, going off that, are there like fans who like will come to the set?
All the time.
Okay,
Every day. They know
interesting.
somehow,
where
mysteriously,
it
where we're shooting. There's like weird. I talk about the leaks from the White House. I mean, there are leaks on
Wow.
all these shows
Wow.
that I work on, where it's like there's crowds of fans,
And
like,
they usually
know where we
able to
are.
How do
keep
you
them
know?
away, or just sometimes
Yeah,
they
well, we have
interact
to,
with
but
the
I mean,
cast?
and then the cast is very sweet. Usually, when they wrap, to go and like
Talk
give
to them.
autographs
Yeah.
and talk.
That's really cool.
And it's very cool, but it's also like for scenes like that, it's like kind of like tense because you're
Right.
like, oh shoot, do we have to? And I think I blocked him in front of a pillar that was blocking that kiss from the
The
street. So that was part of it.
Oh.
So,
See, a
Job.
director knows
Yes.
it all. He knows his angles.
Oof,
Well,
yeah.
on that note, let's get into a couple questions we got from fans for
Yes.
Joshua.
Sure.
Let's see. We have Franta Shadow. What was your favorite scene in this episode?
I'd probably Malec,
Yeah?
just because I'm a sentimentalist and I really love those two characters. And,
Absolutely.
yeah.
We have Slay Frey who wants to know how or when do you know whenever you've got the perfect take?
Well, in TV, again, we shoot so quickly that you have to. One way to save time is to keep the camera rolling and to just do it over and over and over again until you get it right. And actors enjoy that too because I think we all just sort of just try to get it done. And I just know I know it when I feel it. I mean, in terms of the feels, if I get the feels at the monitor, I yell cut because I know we got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be such a satisfying moment to be like, all right, there we go. That's the one that's probably going to be aired. Like that's really cool.
Oh yeah, and I usually tell the actor that, and they're usually aware that they, tapped into something. Like when Nick Sagar did that great monologue, like we did it a couple times, and then like he just kind of like went into it when he was talking about his werewolf girlfriend, and you're like, okay, Nick, that was the one, and he was like, oh yeah, that was the one.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, we have one more quick one, which I think is an interesting one from Artez Williams. What's your favorite memory from shooting the
Yeah, I like
episode?
that.
Yeah, besides, of course, seeing Isaiah just naked on the ground.
That's Sam. Sam, she wasn't even on the set.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite memories was that night, the same night actually, and we didn't talk about the sword fight, but that scene was just so much fun to do because Alan and Dom again did a lot of rehearsing on that, and they were so invested in it, and like to be able to do like a big epic sword fight, in a TV show, it's just one of those fun moments that you just get to really
Yeah.
Yeah.
milk and then have all the emotional stuff going on in the middle of it, so it's just like sort of has it all, so I really enjoy that scene.
And that moment that we forgot to touch on was whenever Izzy came out and totally kicked butt. And
Oh yeah, that was
saved
another great
their
scene.
That was a great
episode.
moment.
Yeah,
and
that's a
she
good
gave
memory.
all of her energy and then just kind of collapsed and kind of looked at
Yeah. Elder Tree.
yeah.
And another example, like we had her stunt double was ready to go, but Emerald said no, I'll do it. And she did it all.
She's
Wow,
so awesome.
that's
so
awesome.
so awesome.
Badass.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, guys, let's get into some predictions because we only have a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You didn't warn me about all the
I know.
lights.
We should probably ask people because some
I
people
know,
with
or-
flashing
I'm
lights.
slightly freaked. Oh no,
Can,
I'm not
get seizures.
epileptic.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
but
We
I'm
need
just,
to brief- we need to
I was
brief
just
people
surprised
on
by
that.
the Twilight Zone sounds.
All right, let's
Exactly.
start with one of you two. Dakota.
Okay, I think that the first thing we're gonna see in the 2B,
Is Sebastian.
June 5th comes
Yes.
about.
June 5th.
Woo!
We're gonna
Fall-based
see
pictures.
Sebastian. It's gonna happen. They obviously announced that Will Tudor is gonna be playing Sebastian, and he's gonna it's gonna be his episode. I feel like he's gonna just show up and obviously wow the crowd, and everyone's excited to see him. I know a lot of the book people have been waiting for him.
Yes.
And I think maybe he's coming a little earlier than he would have in the books, but I think a lot of people are okay with that. They're ready to see him. So I feel like it's going to focus a lot around him and his character, introducing him, and just getting it all set up for the new kind of plot lines. That's my biggest
Absolutely.
prediction.
Yeah, I like that prediction. I do feel like the episode's gonna be centered around Sebastian. I have, well, an obvious feeling, I think, kind of, that, like, Valentine is not done
And he's
being
gonna escape.
evil, and
Yeah.
he's gonna escape.
And the only reason they didn't kill him was because he still has the mortal cup or knows where
I
it
was
is.
like, come on, well, you
Right? I
have him
think
right
so.
there.
Yes, that's
Sure.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else from you, Becca? Do we have any
Climbing.
ships? Climbing?
Climbing.
Okay.
I'm,
All
st-
right.
I'm
For a
still
while.
riding with it for
Yeah.
a while.
I think
like it.
I think until the end of 2B.
Okay.
Maybe.
And then
We'll
they'll be
get
like
place
to
at
be
the
or
end
not to be anymore.
And they're going to
Yes.
be like, not
Ha.
Yeah,
They're
somebody
gonna-
was gonna have to make that joke. I'm
Yeah.
glad you did it. I was
They're
about
gonna-
to. I stopped
2B
myself.
pedals 2B to not be.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
leave that corny stuff up to me. I
Yeah.
will do it.
Well played.
So can you, I mean, you're not directing another episode for 2B, so if you have any inclination of things that you don't really know about but are just guessing, or do you know the way things are going to go?
Obviously, don't get
I
yourself in
probably,
trouble.
unfortunately, know more than I should.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
but
All right.
so I won't risk any spoiler alerts. But I'm enjoying hearing your predictions.
Well, I tried. Okay, so I think that I totally forgot about this because I remember that I read about it. The reason that Simon can walk in the sun, people have said it in the chat a lot, is because he drank Jace's blood, which is angel blood, which
makes
means
sense.
that both him and Clary can basically make daylight vampires if they get their. Oh, what about Raphael?
Maybe he'll
Oh
be
no,
able
but
to.
Izzy doesn't have angel blood. She's just a shadow hunter.
Exactly.
Jace and Clary are special because they have angel blood. Okay. So I do think Raphael will be back and will continue to try to
I love
woo
Raphael.
Izzy in whatever
Oh yeah, I think so too.
way.
But okay, so Shadowhunters, I thought they do have a certain amount of angel blood, but the other two were injected with it, I believe.
Right.
Maybe I'm
So it's
not
a little more.
completely
There's
sure.
extra special
Yeah,
experimentation
extra
going on
yeah.
with the Valentine.
They're like science
labs.
projects,
Yes.
if you will.
Yes, and I do think there will be an escape from Valentine, and we haven't seen the last of Madsy or.
Oh, I hope not. She's adorable.
No, and her God.
Is Iris dead? Is
Iris,
she
no,
around,
I think
like-
we're gonna see Iris again. So wasn't in the book as an interesting addition. So yeah, that's
I
where
like
it
that
leaves
addition.
us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this season. It was so much fun, and I promise you, next season we will get in a lot more of the actors because hopefully they'll be on a bit of a hiatus. But
That's
thank
right.
you.
They will. They
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was so amazing having you.
Thank you for
and-
having me. It's so much fun to talk about. I
Yeah.
love the show. I love this episode and love working on it.
Aw,
It was
well,
a really good
yeah.
episode.
One more time, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, I'm the Joshua Butler on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and
Yeah, seriously, guys, follow him because he posts
fun.
some really cool stuff.
Thank
on
you,
social
Sam.
media.
I'm excited to see what you're gonna work on next. It's gonna be awesome.
Me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in a few weeks, my next Magicians episode is airing. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
catch up with the Magicians if you haven't. It's a great show.
It is a great show.
plug.
All right, Dakota.
And you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
And you all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at samdavidsonentertainment.com, Twitter and Instagram at samd43. Keep up with us until
She posts great stuff
to
too.
be. Yeah, we're all trying to keep you following us, and we love you all that do. So continue to talk to us, and we will see you on 2B.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.